Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir to hold a single-day special session today to pay obituaries to the victims of Pahalgam terror attack, even as Kashmir starts welcoming tourists back to the valley. Further firepower to bolster Indian Navy's blue water capabilities as India poised to finalize 63,000 crore deal for the acquisition of 26 Rafale marine fighter jets from France. Canadian voters all set to cast ballots on Monday. Incumbent Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative Pierre Poilievre face off in the crucial election. Trump urges Russia to stop attacks in Ukraine, warns that the US might walk away from peace efforts if there is no progress. Cardinals at the Vatican prepare to pick a date for the conclave to elect a new pope following the death of Pope Francis. Meeting today at 700 GMT, likely to fix the date. And in sports, Liverpool clinched record equaling 20th Premier League title, beats Tottenham Hotspur in front of home crowd at Anfield to win the trophy. The Legislative Assembly of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir will hold a one-day special session on Monday to discuss the dastardly terror attack in Pahalgam that claimed 26 lives. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has called the session, which will address the recent terror attack, and the members will pay obituaries to the victims. The Assembly will pay tribute to the victims of the attack, followed by a discussion on the incident and related developments. A resolution condemning the terror attack in strong terms is also likely to be adopted during the Assembly. Days after the devastating terror attack in Pahalgam, the serene valley in Jammu and Kashmir is gradually returning to a sense of normalcy. Despite the terror attack, holidays and tourists were spotted returning to the picturesque resort town of Pahalgam. A heartening scene unfolded on the streets of Pahalgam over the weekend as tourists strolled through the town, bringing a wave of resilience, optimism, a sense of normalcy and hope back to the region. Stakeholders said that after experiencing a significant disruption in tourism following the April 22nd terror attack, they have welcomed more than 7,000 holiday makers in the past 3 days. Several domestic and foreign tourists who turned up at Pahalgam during the weekend said it is the Kashmiri hospitality and bolstered security that they decided to visit the place.
पर फिर भी यहाँ पे मार्केट वगैरह सब चालू है पहलगाम में, ऐसी कोई घबराने वाली बात नहीं है। यहाँ की इंडियन आर्मी है, यहाँ की सरकार है, वो हमारे साथ है। यहाँ की जो टूरिस्ट है, जो लोकल लोग हैं, वो भी हमारे साथ में है। पर यहाँ के लोकल ने और यहाँ की आर्मी ने हमको बहुत सपोर्ट किया और बोला यहाँ पे कोई जात की कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है, आप एक बार आइए, पहलगाम भी देखिए।
We feeling very safe, and your country is very beautiful, and we haven't any problem in this staying here.
I have total safe, no problem. It's everything slowly, safe, good feeling, no problem.
We heard about this incident before we left our countries, but we, despite of everything, we decided to come because this is the journey we have been planning for years. And we know that the country is beautiful, and we knew that we can expect only good things here. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
All right, DD India's Vishal Barrister joins us from Srinagar. Vishal, good morning. We've just shown the sound bites of tourists who are expressing confidence and their willingness to come and visit the Kashmir Valley. And behind you, I see a sunny day there. Tell us, how has the morning begun? What are you witnessing on the ground there? How has the situation and the circumstances changed?
Well, a very good morning to you, Preeti. You heard the tourists saying that because of the hospitality and warmth of the people, along with bolstered security, tourists have started coming back to Pahalgam. here in Srinagar, definitely tourism has taken a beating, but still people are willing to come and stay here in Srinagar. I'm here at the Dal Lake. It's a quite sunny morning here. Otherwise, it would have been buzzing with tourists, and all the shikaras that I would ask my cameraman to show you have been parked here. They would have been in the lake. So yes, we cannot say that the effect of Pahalgam has not had its beating on the economy, but for sure people, yesterday I went to Dachigam National Park, and there I saw a lot of tourists coming from different parts of the country. Some had come from Rajasthan, Odisha and Maharashtra. So they are all enjoying their stay here because the love and affection, the bond between the Kashmiris and I would ask my cameraman to show you first how it is all quiet here. Yes, the security has been bolstered here, but yes, the tourists are coming here, but not in large numbers. They are requesting people on camera to come and do not cancel their trips, enjoy their stay here. So this is what Kashmir is all about. But meanwhile, let me tell you, there has been unprovoked firing by small arms from Pakistan along the LOC in Kupwara and Poonch sector that was retaliated by the Indian Army. The unprovoked firing by small arms continues by Pakistan in different regions of the LOC, and this is the day 4 of the unprovoked firing by Pakistan Army. Preeti?
All right, Vishal, though efforts are continuing to bring normalcy back into the region, but we also hear about, more on the ceasefire violations that are happening at the border. Get us more on that, because earlier also when we talked to you yesterday, you told us about the ceasefire violations and how Pakistan is trying to attempt the violations. Help us understand more. How is the situation there now?
Well, Preeti, like the intervening night of 26th and 27th, there were ceasefire violations at Kupwara and Poonch sector on the LOC. And these ceasefire violations are being repeatedly attempted by the Pakistani army, and the only thing is that they would like to, so help the infiltration attempt and attract the attention of the Indian army. But our security forces are on their guard. They're keeping a close vigil. The NIA has taken up the investigation. They are camping in Pahalgam. Very senior officers of the rank of Inspector General of Police and the DIG, which is the Deputy Inspector General, and also the Superintendent of Police. They are taking care of the investigation. Around 200 people have been interrogated so far. So the investigation continues. Meanwhile, the security of Pahalgam and also in different parts of Jammu and Kashmir has also been beefed up. So there is no laxity in the security. But yes, people are saying, I'm talking about the Kashmiris, that it is a blot on humanity. The killing of the people is a direct attack on their own family, because they know that this was the time to earn their livelihood. This was the time when people would have come in large numbers. So though tourism is still there, but definitely it would have been a different picture had this attack not taken place. Preeti?
All right, Vishal, stay with us. We'll get more on this news related to how India, in fact, is bolstering its armed forces, providing further firepower to bolster Indian Navy's blue water capabilities, as India poised to finalize 63,000 crore rupees deal for the acquisition of 26 Rafale marine fighter jets from France. So this is the latest we are getting for you. India and France are set to sign a 63,000 crore deal for 26 Rafale marine combat aircraft. The report also claimed officials from the Indian Defence Ministry and the French ambassador to India will represent the two sides at the signing event. The 26 Rafale marine fighter jets are urgently required for deployment on the Indian aircraft carriers, particularly INS Vikrant, which is now in service. The Rafale M-jets will be customized to meet Indian requirements and will be integrated into INS Vikrant. Now, these carrier-borne fighters are being acquired as a stopgap solution until the development of an indigenous carrier-borne fighter jet is completed. Vishal Baristo is there with us and he will also get us more on this. Vishal, we've told our viewers about the signing of 26 Rafale jets between India and France, the marine jets. This will further bolster the Indian defense. Get us more. How do you view it? Help us understand its significance given the present circumstances.
Well, absolutely. The deal is expected to be signed later in the day, and this $7 billion deal will definitely bolster the Indian Navy, because Indian Navy was for long asking for a modernized aircraft, because the MiGs have they were costing the Navy very badly, and because of their underperformance and underpower, and maintenance was also very high. So this deal will definitely bolster our defense, especially the marine defense, and the first batch is expected to arrive by 2029, and by 2031, according to the Indian naval needs, it would be finally inducted. So this is going to be a big development and big shot in the arm of Indian Navy, and we are expecting 26 Rafale Marines. This is in addition to already 36 Rafale that Indian Air Force has, according to the 2016 deal with Rafale. And we know that the Modi government is very much focused on the developing the Indian Armed Forces, bolstering its need and also its firepower. So these jets that India is going to acquire would be deployed on both INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya, and we are expecting the first batch to arrive by 2029. Preeti?
All right, Vishal, also you're telling us how tourists are flocking back to the Kashmir Valley. Get us more as to what changes do you witness on ground? Has the security been further enhanced? What is the response of the people there, the locals there? Because we heard the tourists express optimism and positivity about their visits to the Kashmir Valley. But then how are the locals there, welcoming the tourists, and also how security has been further beefed up?
Well, definitely, Preeti, after this incident shook the world, I would not say Kashmir or India, it shook the world. Yes. Security has been beefed up, and let me tell you that the sale of army fatigues has been banned in Kupwara, and also the 5.5 kilometer radius is being combed by the Indian security forces. It's a dense forest up there. The National Investigation Agency, along with the Jammu and Kashmir Police and military intelligence of the Indian Army, they are holding a joint operation. But yes, we cannot take things for granted, because we have already suffered a lot, and that is why security has been beefed up at Lal Chowk. The other day I showed our viewers how the CRPF is manning the place, and along with Jammu and Kashmir Police armed personnel. So a lot of security has been put in place. Yesterday we saw the CRPF boat also banning the Dal Lake, because yesterday was weekend and there were a good number of tourists here in the Dal Lake. But today being the Monday, so we would still have to wait before the tourists arrive. But as of now, security has been tightened. Tourists are trickling back, trickling in, but I would say that they are in large numbers. But yes, the tourist season in Kashmir has definitely taken a beating. Preeti?
All right, Vishal, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. So that was our correspondent Vishal Baristo joining us from Jammu and Kashmir, telling us about the latest developments there. Also, Indian diaspora members on Sunday protested in various countries against the Pahalgam terror attack. In a strong show of solidarity with the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack, the Indian diaspora in France organized a mass protest at the iconic Eiffel Tower on Sunday. Dozens of members from the Indian community gathered, holding placards, chanting slogans and waving Indian flags, sending out a loud and clear message against terrorism and its alleged sponsors. In the United States, the members of the Indian community in a solemn gathering paid tribute in Washington, D.C. to the innocent lives lost in Pahalgam terror attack.
I'm so thankful for the work and reached out in the last few days. have asked me, what can we do with leadership? I hope and pray that all of those 4 decades.
Members of the Indian community residing in different cities of Australia, including Canberra and Sydney, came together and held marches in solidarity with India in the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families during this difficult time. We stand in solidarity with the people of Kashmir and
The Indian diaspora also held a march in Frankfurt, Germany, showing support for India in the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack. Members of the Indian community also held a protest over the Pahalgam terror attack outside the Pakistan High Commission in London. The protesters condemned the attack and Pakistan's alleged involvement. People in the northeastern Indian state of Sikkim gathered in Gangtok on Sunday to condemn the recent terror attack at Pahalgam. A solemn candle march led by Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang was organized, which also saw a large turnout of government officials, public representatives and ordinary citizens. The Sikkim Chief Minister expressed deep sadness over the attack and said that people of Sikkim stand firmly against terrorism in all its forms. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh visited Udhampur on Sunday, where he conducted a review of the security arrangements. Speaking on the security concerns, Dr. Jitendra Singh said that appropriate security response will be ensured. He also assured to ensure peace and safety and appreciated the role of Indian Army in keeping the morale of general public high through their strategic presence at sensitive points. The minister said the security forces had spelt out a plan to keep the confidence of the general public high and not let them feel insecure by any means. As the 48-hour deadline given to the Pakistani nationals present in India on SAARC visas to leave ended on Sunday, April 27th. As of now, 536 Pakistanis have returned via the Atari Wagah joint check post in Amritsar. Meanwhile, a total of 836 Indians have also returned from Pakistan till Sunday evening. The decision instructing Pak nationals to leave India was taken during the Central Committee on Security meeting called on April 23rd in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack a day before, in which 26 tourists were killed. DD India's Gurmeet Singh joins us from Atari border. Gurmeet, good morning. Now, we told our viewers about the ending of the deadline yesterday, but at the same time, we've told them how Indian nationals have come back to India and how Pak nationals have left India for Pakistan. Get us more. What are you witnessing at the border? What more can you add to it?
See, right now we are reporting from Atari border and just behind me you can see there is on the left side there is Immigration and Custom Department's office, which will start working from 10 a.m. in the morning. But right now the scene that we are seeing over here is that few Pakistani nationals have started coming in on the Atari border, and you can see the vehicles of the Pakistani nationals packed up with the luggage who are there who wants to exit the country today and want to go back to their homeland, Pakistan. But the latest information that was provided was that all the short-term visa holders will exit the country by 27th of April. That means that was the deadline for all the short-term visa holders, including journalist visa, film visa, or any other kind of visa under 12 categories. But in the morning time, one Pakistani national has come here who was coming from Chhattisgarh's Raipur. He came here to meet his daughter on the short-term visa. So he is ready to go back to his country. So when we asked to him whether he was informed about the 27th April deadline, so he told us that the local administration has told him that he can go back to his country till 29th of April. So there is little dichotomous situation on the ground level when it comes to the short-term visa and medical visa. However, it is very clear that by 29th of April, all the medical visa holders can leave the country. And there is quite clear notification has been given regarding the long-term visa holders. They are not needed to leave the country, but all the Pakistani nationals who were on the short-term visa were required to leave the country by 27th of April. In addition to this, there was some information given by the protocol officer of Atari border yesterday evening that a 2-day extension may be given to the short-term visa holders, and it may be due to that thing only that the Pakistani national with the short-term visa are still coming in and trying to cross the border today.
All right, Gurmeet, thank you so much for joining in with all those details from the Atari border. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's continue getting you more updates. Canadian voters are all set to cast their ballot today after months of uncertainty influenced by US President Donald Trump's unpredictable global tariff policies. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney called for the April 28th election in March, shortly after replacing former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Voters will choose their local representative to the House of Commons, but the ballot will not include a direct vote for Prime Minister. Mark Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre campaigned across the country on Sunday, the final day of a 5-week campaign, making their pitches to the voters. Carney met with supporters after making a case a day earlier in Ontario that he is best placed to steer Canada through a crisis triggered by Trump's tariffs. Poilievre has promised to reduce spending on foreign aid and acts a federal sales tax on Canadian-made autos as long as US tariffs are in place.DD India's Akshay Dongre joins us with more. Akshay, good morning. We've told our viewers about the poll process that will be held in Canada. But for the benefit of our viewers, help us understand these elections. What do they mean for Canada? Because Mark Carney had assumed the leadership of the country after Justin Trudeau. What do these elections mean for Canada?
Well, it means a lot, Preeti, as far as the fate of the country is concerned. This is the day when the country decides that who will be leading Canada, one of the wealthiest countries, a very close ally, in fact, perhaps the closest ally of the United States of America, is going for polls. And unlike other countries, unlike several countries where a democratic process is quite long in Canada, it is only one day of voting where House of Commons candidates are around 343 candidates are voted for, and whosoever wins the majority has the Prime Minister. It's as simple as that. And that perhaps is the reason why today's day is in fact very important, and the build-up was so strong by both the conservative and the liberal side. So in the last election in 2021, we saw an overwhelming majority for the Liberal Party with Justin Trudeau at the helm of the party. But now a lot has changed. You have Donald Trump in the White House back again. You have Donald Trump that is quite aggressive with his tariffs and with his policies, even towards his closest allies such as Canada. There have been, quite a lot of tensions between Canada, especially ever since the leadership of the United States has been calling for Canada to become another province or a state of the US. That led to quite a lot of tension between the two countries, especially under Justin Trudeau. But now the two candidates that we are seeing are quite remarkable. When you look at the Liberal Party candidate, he has steered Canada through a very difficult phase economically. He has been the head of the Bank of UK as well, after being the head of the Bank of Canada. Since the 17th century, he was the first non-UK citizen to be at the helm of the Bank of Canada, and that says a lot as far as his credibility is concerned. His own skills to navigate through these times of turmoil. But if you look at the conservative candidate, then we are seeing once again a surge of nationalism, a surge of Canada first that's taking place. So a lot of immigrants, migrant students who are staying there are also very closely watching these elections, because not just their future but also the future of Canada that's at stake on this one day of polls. Back to you.
All right, Akshay, thank you so much for joining in with those details. And continuing with the updates on polls, the race for Canada's highest office has taken on a bold new look this election season, with former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney now leading the Liberal Party. He's pledging steady economic leadership, while Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre pushes a platform of lower taxes and common sense solutions. DD India's Tarun Paul gets us more in this report.
A former governor of both the Bank of Canada and Bank of England, Mark Carney stepped into Liberal leadership after Justin Trudeau's departure. He's touting economic stability, fiscal responsibility and social progress as the heart of his campaign. Carney says his financial expertise will help Canada tackle stubborn inflation and global economic headwinds. Pierre Poilievre continued his campaign of so-called common sense conservatism, hammering liberal spending and taxation as the drivers of rising prices. He promised to axe the carbon tax, cut personal income taxes and target what he calls gatekeepers, preventing housing development and economic growth. Positioning himself as the champion of ordinary Canadians, Jagmeet Singh insists neither Liberals nor Conservative do enough to take on corporate greed. Singh wants to cap grocery prices, crack down on big banks and investors, inflation housing costs, and expand public health care to include dental and pharmacare. Over in Quebec, Yves Blanchet seek more autonomy for the province, vowing to defend Quebec interest in a likely minority parliament. He's calling for greater provincial control over immigration, increased health transfer with no string attached, and a stronger protection for the French language. Back at the Green Party helm, Elizabeth May champions an ambitious climate plan and a people-first economic overhaul, seeking a swift transition to renewable energy, comprehensive pharmacare and a guaranteed livable income. She warns time is running out to avoid the worst of a climate change. On the farther right, Maxime Bernier continues to campaign on a platform of limited government, reduced immigration and an end to what he called woke politics. He says the PPC's voice is needed to protect Canadian freedom of expression and personal liberties. Brampton East Conservative hopeful Bob Dosanjh led a spirited rally in a local banquet hall. Dosanjh, a business owner turned politician, spoke to a crowd of over 500 about the rising cost of living and the need for a fresh start in Ottawa. In Brampton West, Kamal Khera, Canadian Minister of Health and registered nurse, visited a local clinics and spoke directly to the healthcare workers. Khera repeated her pledge to strengthen Canada's healthcare system if re-elected. From Canada, this is Tarun Paul Singh.
In the western Canadian city of Vancouver, at least 11 people were killed and dozens were injured when a man with a history of mental health issues rammed an SUV through a crowd at the Filipino Community Festival. Police arrested a 30-year-old Vancouver man at the scene of the incident on Saturday evening, describing him as having a significant history of interactions with authorities involving mental health. They said there was no evidence of terrorism. The attack on Saturday evening took place 2 days before Canada's federal election on Monday. Mayor of Vancouver, Ken Sim, described the incident as the darkest day in city's history. He ruled out terrorism as a motive of the attack.
Now, I do want to take this opportunity to lay out some facts about the incident. Here's what I can confirm at this time. Number one, the suspect has been arrested and is currently in VPD custody. Secondly, evidence points to this not being an act of terrorism. Thirdly, the individual in question has a significant history of mental health issues. And fourthly, he is known to police for a multitude of mental health interactions. Now, it would appear that mental health appears to be the underlying issue here.
Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney described the incident as a car ramming attack. Carney said that while the investigation is ongoing, there is no indication of an active threat to Canadians following the attack.
An occasion to gather and to celebrate the vibrancy of the Filipino-Canadian community. 9 people were killed, and more than 20 were injured in what the Vancouver police are describing as a car ramming attack. I would like to commend the quick and compassionate actions of those at the scene and of our first responders. An investigation is ongoing.
You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu comes down heavily on Iran, cautioning against Iran should not have the capacity to enrich uranium for nuclear weapons. We get to the latest developments in the US attempts to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Even as US efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict gain momentum, North Korea confirmed sending troops to fight for Russia in Ukraine.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Israel struck South Beirut on Sunday, marking the third incident since the November 27 ceasefire. The strike drew criticism from Lebanese President Joseph Aoun, who called on France and the US to intervene and enforce the ceasefire. Whereas Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office stated that the strike targeted a Hezbollah facility storing precision-guided missiles in Beirut's southern suburbs. The Israeli military had warned civilians to evacuate the area beforehand. Netanyahu's office said that Israel will not allow Hezbollah to grow stronger and create any threat against it anywhere in Lebanon. Meanwhile, the UN's Special Coordinator for Lebanon, Jeanine Hennis-Plasschaert, urged all the parties to avoid actions that could destabilize the ceasefire, citing panic and fear among the civilians. Meanwhile, Israel carried out another operation, a drone strike in the border town of Halta on Sunday, which killed one person, reportedly a Hezbollah militant, according to Israel. Despite the November truce, Israel has continued to conduct strikes in Lebanon, and its troops remain in several positions in southern Lebanon deemed strategic. The U.S. military decided not to reveal specific details about its military strikes in Yemen, citing what it calls the need to preserve operational security, while also saying the strikes had lethal effects on Houthi rebels. Republican President Donald Trump ordered the intensification of U.S. strikes on Yemen last month, with his administration saying that it will continue assaulting Iran-backed Houthi rebels until they stop attacking the Red Sea shipping. Washington says the strikes aim to cut off Houthi military and economic capabilities while minimizing civilian harm. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called for the complete dismantling of Iran's nuclear program, stating that any deal with Tehran must address its ballistic missile capabilities. He emphasized that Iran should not have the capacity to enrich uranium for nuclear weapons. This stance comes as Iran and the US hold nuclear talks, with both sides reporting progress. The talks aim to find a solution after the collapse of a 2015 nuclear accord between Iran and major powers.
I think we should bring in the ballistic missiles, the prevention of the development of ballistic missiles into the deal. I think these are the two requirements. I said to President Trump that I hope that this is what the negotiators will do. We're in close contact with the United States. But I said one way or the other, Iran will not have nuclear weapons. And then further, the way to prevent it is to dismantle all the infrastructure of Iran's nuclear program.
Iran is reeling after a devastating explosion tore through Shahid Raja'i Airport near the vital Strait of Hormuz, killing at least 40 and injuring over 1,000. Eyewitness footage showed rescue workers from the Iranian Red Crescent dropping fire retardants from the aircraft onto the raging flames. The blast near the critical Strait of Hormuz blanketed Bandar Abbas in toxic smoke, shutting down schools and offices. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has ordered a full investigation into the possible negligence or foul play. President Masoud Pezeshkian visited the scene and pledged urgent support for the victims. Fire fueled by hazardous chemicals raged for hours as Russia rushed specialists to assist. Though port operations have partly resumed, twisted wreckage and smoke still cloud the area. U.S. President Donald Trump urged Russia on Sunday to stop its attacks in Ukraine, while his top diplomat said that the United States might walk away from peace efforts if it does not see progress. Speaking to reporters in New Jersey, Trump said that he was disappointed that Russia has continued to attack Ukraine and said that his one-on-one meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky had gone well.
Well, I want him to stop shooting, sit down and sign a deal. And we have the confines of a deal, I believe, and I want him to sign it and be done with it and just go back to life.
Trump also rebuked Russian President Vladimir Putin after that meeting, saying that he wants Putin to stop shooting in the Ukraine conflict and sign a peace deal.
I think the meeting went well. We'll see what happens over the next few days. We'll probably learn a lot. I was very disappointed that missiles were flying by Russia, but that missiles were flying. Very disappointing. We'll see how it goes.
As President Trump puts pressure on Moscow and Kyiv to make a deal, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio described the coming week as very critical for U.S. attempts to end the conflict.
Well, I always think it's silly to set a specific date or whatever, but I can just tell you that almost 100 days into this presidency, the president has dedicated a tremendous amount of time and energy to this. And we think we brought the sides closer than they've been in a very long time, but we're not there yet, and it needs to start happening. We need to start, I think this is going to be a very critical week.
Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said in a televised interview that Crimea is a done deal and is not being discussed in the negotiations with Ukraine.
President Trump said Crimea is not even being discussed right now.
Yes, because this is a done deal.
You mean Russia occupies and controls and will not negotiate the future of Crimea? Is that what you're saying?
Russia do not negotiate its own territory.
North Korea has confirmed for the first time that it has deployed troops to fight alongside Russia in Ukraine, acting on orders from leader Kim Jong-un. North Korean forces reportedly helped liberate Russia's Kursk region, a move hailed by Pyongyang as proof of an unbreakable alliance. KCNA state media called their fighters heroes, highlighting the deepening military pact sealed by Kim and President Putin last year. North Korea sent an estimated total of 14,000 troops, including 3,000 reinforcements to replace its losses, Ukrainian officials reported. Despite suffering heavy losses due to limited equipment and battlefield experience, North Korean forces adapted swiftly. Russia, after months of silence, has now acknowledged their presence. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius warned Ukraine against accepting US President Donald Trump's latest ceasefire proposal, calling it a path to capitulation. Speaking to German public broadcaster ARD, Pistorius acknowledged that Kyiv may eventually have to consider territorial concessions for a genuine and lasting peace. However, he stressed that Trump's offer goes too far and offers Ukraine no real benefit. Pistorius stressed that Ukraine could have secured similar terms a year ago without enduring further devastation. Accepting such a deal now, he said, would not only erase the sacrifices made, but also offer no meaningful gains. As Pistorius prepares to remain in office under Germany's new coalition, his message was clear: capitulation must not be the price of ceasefire. At a time of simmering tensions between Beijing over the South China Sea, US and Philippine soldiers shot down drones with Stinger missiles during live-fire drills on Sunday, part of the annual joint military exercises. More than 14,000 Filipino and US troops are participating in this year's shoulder-to-shoulder exercises, which run until May 9th, focusing on a full battle test between the two defense treaty allies in response to regional security concerns. China has criticized the drills as provocative. Ties between Beijing and Manila are their worst in years amid frequent confrontations in the disputed waterway that have sparked concerns of a military conflict. China's Coast Guard said that it had dealt with a situation involving 6 Filipinos who it accused of illegally landing on a disputed reef after Beijing state media said the tiny sandbank had recently come under Chinese control. Beijing claimed sovereignty over almost all of South China Sea and has waved away competing assertions from other countries in the region, as well as an international ruling that its position has no legal basis. The sandbank, part of the Spratly Islands, lies near the Thitu Island, also called Pagasa, and the site of Philippine military facility. In recent months, Beijing and Manila have blamed each other for causing what they describe as ecological degradation of several disputed landforms in the South China Sea. US President Donald Trump hopes the Supreme Court will intervene to support his administration's immigration policies, which have faced challenges in lower courts. Trump expressed frustration with judges blocking his efforts to crack down on illegal immigration, citing a recent case involving a Maryland resident who was deported despite a court order protecting him.
Terrible. What happened there is terrible. That could happen with a judge is so ashamed. And we have to, look, we have to bring our country back from all these criminals that Biden allowed to come in. These are world-class criminals and people that are insane, people from jails, murderers, drug addicts, drug dealers. And, you know, we have a country. We have to be proud of our country. We can't let these people stay, and the courts are allowing them to stay. And we're just not going to allow it. So hopefully the Supreme Court will come to the rescue of our country.
A South Sudan opposition lawmaker has accused President Salva Kiir's government of preparing a genocide against the Nuer community led by his rival Riek Machar. Now, the accusation follows the government's classification of certain areas as hostile, which the opposition sees as a pretext for collective punishment and violence. Months of clashes between Kiir's forces and those loyal to Machar have raised fears of a return to civil war. The opposition party is considering filing charges of crime against humanity and genocide at the International Criminal Court. Cardinals from all over the world have begun convening in Rome to prepare to hold a conclave to select a successor for Pope Francis. Dozens of so-called princes of the church from across the world have been gathering at the Vatican. At 700 GMT on Monday, they will hold their fifth meeting at which they are likely to fix a conclave date. Experts have suggested it may take place on May 5th or 6th, shortly after the 9 days of papal mourning, which ends on May 4th. There are 252 cardinals, but only 135 of them are aged under 80 and therefore eligible to vote for a new pope. Most are relatively young, and for many, it is their first conclave. The vote held in the Sistine Chapel is highly secretive and follows strict rules and ceremonial procedures. You're watching DD India News. I'm waiting for a short break, but after the break, Virat Kohli, Krunal Pandey shine as Royal Challengers Bengaluru beat Delhi Capitals to become the table toppers. We also get you details on the splendid performance by India at the second Asian Yogasana Sport Championship. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News. Let's get you updates from the world of business now. Asian share markets and the dollar made a cautious start on Monday as confusion over US trade policy showed little sign of easing in a week packed with major economic data and mega tech earnings. Early action in the markets was light, with broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan edging up 0.1%. Japan's Nikkei rose 0.9%, while South Korea firmed 0.2%. Going the other way, S&P 500 futures dipped 0.4% in early trade, while Nasdaq futures eased 0.5%. The S&P has bounced almost 12% from the April 8th trough, but remains 10% below its peak. The week is also packed with economic news, including U.S. employment, gross domestic product, and core inflation. The dollar index was steady at 99.695, above last week's low of 97.923, while the euro held at $1.1350 and short of its recent top at $1.15783. Singapore is negotiating concessions for pharmaceutical exports to the US while ensuring it still has access to high-end AI chips from the American market. Singapore Trade and Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yang said on Sunday that he had a call with US Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick on Friday, and Lutnick expressed concerns about export controls of chips not just to Singapore but generally, and also wanted to explore creative solutions to strengthen bilateral trade. Pharmaceuticals, which US President Donald Trump has threatened tariffs on, make up more than 10% of Singapore's exports to the US. According to a Singaporean newspaper, Straits Times, Deputy Prime Minister Gan said it was important for Singapore to seek concessions on pharmaceuticals front. Let's turn focus to sports now. Liverpool roared back from a goal behind to thrash Tottenham Hotspur 5-1 and wrap up the Premier League title in style on a momentous day at Anfield. Liverpool required only 1 point to ensure a record equaling 20th English title with 4 games remaining, but they were rocked in the 12th minute as Dominic Solanke headed Tottenham in the front. However, the title party was only temporarily silenced as Liverpool struck back with a Lewis Dias tap-in, an Alexis Mac Allister thunderbolt and a Cody Gakpo shot before half-time. Later, a one-sided second half saw Mohamed Saleh and a 6-match scoring drought in the 63rd minute. Tottenham's destiny, Udogie meanwhile bundled in an own goal to complete a miserable afternoon for the visitors, who have now lost 19 Premier League games this season. Liverpool have now matched Manchester United's English titles record, having 82 points from 32 games played with Arsenal. Manchester United salvaged a 1-1 away draw at 10-man Bournemouth at the Premier League on Sunday. Rasmus scored an equaliser deep into the stoppage time. Antoine, in fact, had put Bournemouth ahead in the 23rd minute, and United was staring at a 16th defeat of the season. But Holland came to the rescue in extra minute at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth were reduced to 10 men from the 70th minute, while striker Emmanuelson was sent off after a VAR review of the slip-sliding tackle. The result left Bournemouth 10th, dealing a blow to their hopes of a place in Europe next season, while Europa League semi-finalists United gained a point in 14th. On to cricket. Royal Challengers Bengaluru clinched top spot in the ongoing IPL with a 6-wicket win over Delhi Capitals at the Arun Jaitley Stadium on Sunday. Chasing 163 for the win, Krunal Pandya blasted a 47-ball 73 not out as Bengaluru achieved the target with 9 balls to spare. Virat Kohli also hit his 6th half-century of the season to claim the orange cap momentarily, but struggled during his 51-run knock of 47. Meanwhile, for Delhi, KL Rahul top scored with a 39-ball 41, but Delhi lost at regular intervals before Tristan Stubbs' 18-ball 34 lifted them to a competitive total of 162 for 8. Bhuveshwar Kumar and Josh Hazelwood snapped 3 and 2 wickets respectively, while Krunal Pandya and Yash Dayal accounted for 1 wicket each to restrict Delhi Capitals. India delivered a historic performance at the second Asian Yogasana Sports Championship, sweeping the medal tally with a record 83 gold medals at the event held in New Delhi. The championship saw participants from over 21 countries, while India dominated with an unprecedented 83 gold medals. Japan followed with 3 golds, 3 silvers and 4 bronze medals, while Mongolia, Oman and Nepal rounded out the top 5 standings. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta and India's Culture Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat attended the event to boost the morale of the players.
इस प्रतिष्ठित अंतर्राष्ट्रीय आयोजन का ये इवेंट आज दिल्ली में हो पा रहा है, इसके लिए मैं बहुत ही गर्व की अनुभूति कर रही हूँ। इसकी अगली श्रृंखला में ये खेल योगासन 2026 में जापान में आयोजित होने वाली एशियाई खेलों में भी शामिल होगा। ये भी हम सब के लिए बड़ी खुशी की बात है और साथ ही मैं ये आशा करती हूँ कि 2036 में होने वाले ओलंपिक खेलों में भी भारत की ओर से योगासन उस खेल प्रतियोगिताओं में शामिल होगा। इसके लिए भी मैं आपको शुभकामनाएं देती हूँ।
Second Asian Yogasana Championship is going on at Indira Gandhi Indoor Stadium. So I want to thank, sincere thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji for his vision to promote yoga as a sports and for starting the Fit India movement. Now Fit India movement I am sure will go worldwide. So I am proud to be a Fit India ambassador and a Yogasana judge. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
After 3 days of breathtaking performances, the second Asian Yogasana Sport Championship 2025 concluded in New Delhi on Sunday. In an exclusive conversation with DD India correspondent Meher Raj Singh, the General Secretary of the event, Dr. Jaideep Arya, spoke about the growing popularity of Yogasana in India and around the world, its potential inclusion in Olympics 2036 and the overall success of the event. Let's listen in.
We're here at the Indira Gandhi Arena where the closing ceremony of the second Asian Yogasana Championship is taking place. We are joined by the General Secretary of the event, Dr. Jaideep Arya. How do you see this 3-day event concluding today with immense participation? How do you see the success of this event?
This is the second Asian Championship. First we have organized in Dubai. Merely 4 or 5 countries were there. But now 300 times, means more than 16-18 countries are participating into this. So there is a attraction in the athletes. They want to amalgamate and they want to accept this Yogasana sports. And I think more than male, female athletes are there. They are participating. This is female dominating sport of Yogasana.
So how do you see this sport evolving further? How do you see the popularity of sport in India?
now in India, we are present in more than 28 states, 6 union territories, and 2 government bodies are our official members. One is Police Board, second is CBSE Education Board is our member. I want to tell you that in ICSE board, in SGFI games, in university games, it is already incorporated. More than 3 lakh athletes are there, those who are regularly practicing and participating in different championships.
And also a bit about the government support for organizing this event and what more can be done to create awareness about Yogasana.
It is all the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, sir. He is really a visionary person. At the time, at the juncture when the young chaps are busy with their gadgets, with their mobile phone, they are just stuck in the room, not doing any activity. At this juncture, he has instructed us, has given us hint to promote Yogasana sport. Nowadays, I think in India and in abroad, in 46 countries, young chaps are coming and attracting towards Yogasana sport. And their physical activities are increasing day by day, and moreover, they are participating into it, and their fitness level, physical and mental fitness level are growing. 18 countries are here. It is all due to the support of MEA and the Ministry of Sports.
The sport Yogasana is gaining immense popularity. It's just a matter of time before Yogasana shines on the global stage. With cameraman Anand Kashyap, this is Mehar Raj Singh for DD India, Delhi.
All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can download the respective QR codes. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.